like, I have not always been a victim, but, like, right now I'm a freaking victim in the situation.
He and the defendant, Clenny, had been involved in an extremely tempestuous and combative relationship.
Don't touch me!
What is going on?
He had my neck, and this happened twice before, where I couldn't breathe.
I was sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you.
New video has surfaced of OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny attacking her boyfriend. So how might this tip the scales of justice at her murder trial? Plus, we're breaking down the stalking of Jennifer Dulos as we gear up for another day of big testimony in the case against Michelle Troconis. And a third arrest has been made in the murders of Savannah Soto and her boyfriend. So how might this new co-defendant impact the whole case? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. TGIF. Welcome to Friday, my friends, and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant, your host. If you're new to the show, welcome. We're so glad you're here. This show is a lot like the actual opening statements at trial. We get you all primed and ready to go and hear the evidence in the major cases that we're covering on Court TV Live that are both in trial and the ones that are just making us talk in the world of true crime. Right now, it's time for you to grab a cup of coffee because it's time for my opening statement. Winston Churchill once said, "The greatest lesson in life is to know that even fools are right sometimes." Thursday was an interesting day for opening statements in our 2 live trials, wasn't it? In Connecticut, there were none in the Jennifer Dulos death case. Our Court TV team did some research and found that it is customary in the state of Connecticut to not give opening statements. If you want to deliver one there, you must request permission of the court to do so. And here, neither side requested permission to give one, so the jury just dove right on into the case evidence. But in Florida, it was another story. In the Treehouse murder case, both sides gave opening statements. The state and pro se defendant, Mr. Tucker. Make no mistake about it, it is a terrible idea to represent yourself, especially in a homicide case. As Abraham Lincoln once famously said, the man who represents himself has a fool for a client. But surprisingly, Mr. Tucker's opening statement was better than the state's open. He was conversational with the jury. He didn't seem like he was talking at them. He was just talking to them. He was confident. He made valid points. The prosecutor, who is the actual legal professional, gave his open, and I found it to be like he was reading an indictment at a bail hearing. No connection, no great storytelling. To me, it was underwhelming. For looking at the trial in parts and keeping score day by day, calling the balls and the strikes, as I like to say, the pro se defendant won those opening statements. Good for him. Every dog has his day, right? And if I'm the state of Florida, oh boy, I've got some work to do. I'm gonna make sure that my closing arguments are far better than my opening statements. And like we always say in life, you know, and this is true at trial as well, my friends, you never get a second chance to make that first impression. That is my opening statement on this Friday morning. Let me know if you like it. Right now, I wanna give you what's on your daily docket.
Well, it's just strange in connection with the fact that we've got a missing person, or potentially missing persons. You know? Yeah, there's scrapes on this side too, but there's no blood near them, so whatever they hit went down this side of the vehicle.
All right, friends, here's a look at some of the cases that we're following for you today here on Court TV. In Connecticut, testimony resumes at 10 a.m. in the death of Jennifer Dulos case. This is against defendant Michelle Troconis, who was her husband's girlfriend. In Florida, testimony is going to kick off at 9 a.m. for pro se defendant Franklin Ty Tucker. We'll see if he wins the day again today. The state's continuing presenting its case against him. And in Florida, Courtney Clenny is due in court today, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Going to be a status hearing on her murder case, and we're going to have her attorney coming up later in the show to talk about that brand new video that has everybody talking. Right now, we want to start things off with Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who has the latest for us on on the Treehouse murder trial. Matt, good morning.
Julie, good morning. Fireworks inside the Florida courtroom where the defendant representing himself is now accused of giving threatening looks to the prosecutor inside the courtroom. Franklin Ty Tucker is on trial for the murder of Matthew Bonnet at a well-known drug spot called the Treehouse. During opening statements, the state said that Tucker and another man killed Bonnet in a robbery gone wrong. Tucker, however, told the jury a surviving victim will testify he was never there, and police found none of his DNA at the scene. But during openings, there were several objections. And outside the presence of the jury, Tucker was accused of giving threatening looks and not following the rules of the court.
Mr. Tucker, you don't have to give me weird looks or threatening glances or whatever that's supposed to be.
That was not supposed to be a threatening glance. I really take offense that you would say that. Oh, wait a second. Just, I want to be clear here.
Mr. Tucker, you have a bad habit, sir, of interrupting and not allowing people to complete what they're saying.
I thought he was done. In my defense, as far as that went, I wasn't the one who jumped up and started getting animated about the whole thing.
Mr. Tucker, I don't want to disparage you, but lawyers and judges spend years studying rules
I
of
get
evidence,
this.
and they're more subtle than you realize sometimes.
I would imagine.
So far, in day one, the jury has heard from responding officers. They also heard from a witness who could not identify Tucker. This morning, it's unclear if a surviving victim, Pamela Belmont, will testify. She's currently hospitalized, and the judge will decide later if she can testify via Zoom. Today, we expect to hear about DNA evidence. Tucker faces life behind bars if convicted. Julie?
All right, Matt, thanks so much for that update. We'll see what happens today. Now we want to turn to Connecticut, where the Jennifer Dulos death case is set to resume this morning. Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft has been inside the courtroom for us. She filed this report for us on day one's biggest moments.
Day one of the trial against Michelle Troconis has wrapped up for the day. No opening statements from the state or defense in this case. The state got right into the presentation of evidence, where we heard from several officers who responded to reports of a missing person, that missing person being Jennifer Dulos, reported missing by Jennifer Dulos's babysitter. But first, we did hear from the Troconis family. Let's listen to that.
We know that the truth will prevail and justice will be done because she is innocent.
Michelle Troconis is facing several charges, including conspiracy to commit murder in connection with the disappearance of mother of five, Jennifer Dulos, whose body has never been found. Authorities do believe that she was killed by her now deceased estranged husband, Fotis Dulos. Michelle Troconis was Dulos's girlfriend. Several New Canaan police officers testified today in court, with the first two witnesses being the officers who responded to calls of a missing person from Jennifer Dulos's babysitter. Body camera footage was played in court showing the garage of the Dulos home and the inside of the home. During their initial review of the home, officers took note of the black Range Rover, which appeared to show blood. Let's listen.
I looked at the vehicle and noticed that there was what appeared to be red blood on the front of that vehicle.
Officers also noticed what appeared to be a bloody footprint that they testified to in court today. Proceedings get underway again here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
All right, our thanks to Kelly Craft for that report. Let's talk more about this case. I want to bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Michael J. Brown. Michael, good morning. Nice to see you as always. Give us your assessment early in the trial. How are things looking for both sides? Your take, please.
Good morning, Julie. This is an interesting case because anytime you have an alleged murder without the actual body being discovered, it's a very, very difficult case for the prosecutor, generally speaking. You know, you lose a lot of the evidentiary value when you don't have the body. But I think circumstantially, I expect they'll be able to put points together and establish the case. But there's certainly a defense, and it's a valid one here.
Right. Michael, I've got a clip here. This is Michelle Troconis's father, Carlos Troconis, speaking out to the media at the courthouse after day one of the case. Let's take a listen.
It's a very important day. We have been waiting for this opportunity of the media, for more than 4 years. We have been under this nightmare of the whole entire family. And on behalf of my daughter, who we know that she's innocent, we are trusting this fair trial, and I hope the result will be favorable for everybody.
Michael, what are your thoughts on this when you have people so close to the accused speaking out, holding a press conference? If you're representing Michelle Troconis, do you like this, or would you rather just let everything play out in the courtroom?
No, if I'm representing the defendant, it's always helpful when you have the family members supporting the defendant and being in their corner. It certainly helps the case. It helps public perception, because now you have the family members standing behind their loved one saying, she's not capable of this, she's not the one who's responsible. So that's always beneficial to the defense.
Right. You know, and then for prosecutors, it's harder, and you know this because you know the ethical constraints. Prosecutors have more than private defense attorneys. You know, someone who's serving maybe in the public defender's office would have those same ethical concerns. You know, you're a public official and public servant, and so you have to be really careful what you say. Here, this is a tough one. You know, the nation's well aware of these facts, so I think these prosecutors probably have an advantage going in, because that mother, she was so beautiful. Those kids left without their mom and their dad now, and it seems to me kind of Michelle Troconis is the one left holding the bag here because of her involvement with Fotis Dulos. Maybe she did what police said, maybe she didn't. If you're a prosecutor, how do you handle the media attention on this one, Michael, knowing, you know, defendant's family's given pressers, you really can't speak out? What do you think's their best move?
From the prosecutor's standpoint, Julie, I think what they have to emphasize is, hey, we have the evidence. We're going to be able to present the evidence. It's going to show that she has committed this murder along with the co-defendant, who's now deceased. And we're going to show that in a courtroom, in a court of law. So from a prosecutor's standpoint, they can always balance out those statements made by the defendant's families by focusing on, we have the evidence, we're going to prove it in a courtroom, and we're going to convict her.
Michael J. Brown, thank you so much for weighing in on that. We're going to have you come along with us as we head into what's trending in true crime. Here is what is coming up next.
When police arrived, they discovered two people in the Kia. EMS was called to the scene, and they pronounced both victims at the scene. It appeared that the vehicle had been located at that location for several days.
We're breaking down the third arrest now made in the murder case involving pregnant teen Savannah Soto and her boyfriend Matthew Guerra. Plus, we're walking through the timeline of Jennifer Dulos' death as we have our stalking expert weighing in on the moves that happened leading up to Jennifer's murder. Don't go away.
She was a sweet girl, loving mother.
Erica Stefanko stands accused of luring a pizza delivery driver into a trap that ended her life.
We believe it was her that made the phone call to order the pizza.
During the delivery, Ashley was ambushed by her former boyfriend.
She was found guilty, but that conviction has been overturned.
Now, will a new trial end with a different verdict?
The pizza delivery murder retrial. Live coverage begins Tuesday morning, only on Court TV.
So the two individuals we just walked out today, again, is a father and son. The first individual is the father, the second individual is the son. They're going to be charged, the son's going to be charged this evening with capital murder, and the father's going to be charged with abuse of a corpse. So we do expect more charges to be pending.
Now for what's trending in true crime, there's been a third arrest made in connection to the murders of a pregnant teenager and her boyfriend. Wednesday, police arrested Myrtra Romanos on 3 felony charges for her alleged role in the murders of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra. Now, Soto and Guerra were last seen on December 22nd, and the following day, an alert was issued for pregnant Soto, who didn't show up to be induced. The day after Christmas, the bodies of both Soto and Guerra were found inside of a vehicle in San Antonio. Now, last week, Chris Preciado and his father, Ramon Preciado, were arrested and charged relating to the case. And Myrta Romanos is married to Ramon Preciado, so she is Christopher's stepmother. And police are saying that she was involved in the cover-up, the aftermath. That's the allegation against Dad as well, that they were not involved in the shooting itself, but involved in the cover-up and the mess and the assistance afterward. Also, the gun that was used by Chris Preciado, according to police, is a gun that belongs to Myrta Romanos, his stepmother. So let's talk about what her arrest means for this case. Let's bring in our power panel. What a great panel we have on this Friday. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Michael J. Brown still with us. Law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter joining us, and so is family law attorney and law professor Randy Kessler. Wonderful to see you all. Michael J. Brown, will you start us off, please, on what this arrest means for the case?
It's a big deal, Julie, because what will happen now is you expect that the defense attorney will convince his client to come in, cooperate with the prosecutor, because at the end of the day, helping dispose of the body really pales in comparison to the actual murder and the trigger man. So they're going to have her come in, hopefully cooperate, work out a deal for herself to save herself, but she'll give tremendous evidence towards the murder, how it happened, who was involved, the circumstances. So I think it's a big deal for the prosecution.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are right, Michael. Sonny Slaughter, to you next, please. Your thoughts on what this will mean.
Good morning, everyone. This is a family affair of murder, and it is horrific. And I do believe that the investigative process has gathered enough evidence to ensure that they are going to get the people that they need. I believe that there's the cooperation from our latest witness will be pivotal in determining why this actually happened to such a horrible crime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's horrific. And it really illustrates how dangerous drug trafficking is. No matter if you're buying, you're selling, using, whatever you're doing, if you're doing that on the streets, it is not a safe thing to be doing. And we see how police have said that this was a drug deal that went fatally wrong. And now here we are, 3 lives lost, because remember that baby was living inside her. So we'll see what that means as well for prosecution down the line. But first, Randy Kessler, last but certainly not least, want to get your take on what arrest number 3 means, please.
So Sonny's right, it's a family affair, and Michael's exactly right. Not only is this witness somebody who the prosecution can use against the guy who actually did it, she's a step, right? And not that step parents don't love their children, but blood's thicker than water. Dads aren't going to be relied upon to turn on their own child. So having the father was helpful. Having the stepmother, and who knows what the relationship is between stepmother and the defendant, but she's obviously the most likely candidate to say, you know what, I'm out of here, put everybody else away. I'm sorry I ever got involved with this family. And the prosecution's going to take it all they can. It's appropriate for the prosecution.
Yes, Randy, great points. Let's switch gears now. Just west of this case in Arizona, a woman has been arrested for murder after police say she left her infant alone for 37 hours while she went partying. 24-year-old Sarah Harris recently booked on 1 count of second-degree murder, 1 count of child abuse, just over 5 months after her 6-week-old baby was found dead in her Phoenix apartment. Police say Harris left the infant alone for almost 2 full days, allegedly after an extended bender, using drugs, using alcohol, being home for, or leaving the infant home for all of that time without any care or supervision. Authorities say that Harris stated that she gave the infant melatonin and NyQuil before she left. And she also apparently said to police that she was upset when she came home because she was gone so long. You think she was upset? My blood is boiling hearing that. Let me bring in my power panel, see what they have to say about this. Sonny Slaughter, I see you nodding there as I was sharing the story. Go first, if you would, please.
I'm trying to keep my composure first of all. Although she is 24 years old, you have to ask yourself, what was she thinking What could she have possibly thought, whether she was on drugs? Did she have drugs in her system during her pregnancy? This is going to have to roll back over her care during maternity, her family, the friends, the people that she knew. If she had an infant and nobody asked questions where the child was, that is also problematic. But I do not feel sorry for her. I think that they should absolutely go for everything that they can get from her. She's mad, I'm angry, and this baby is deceased. And that is problematic.
It's horrific, Sonny. You're right. It's horrific. Everything you said, I'm with you. And there was also a 17-month-old child of hers as well in the house. That child survived, thank God. But I mean, oh my gosh, this woman, when she told police, she was upset when she came home because she left the kids for so long to go take dope, drink too much, do, you know, God knows what. Randy Kessler, to you next, please. Do you think she was really upset?
Who knows? But it doesn't really matter, right? It's everyone who's a parent has the same feeling I'm about to express. When you leave the hospital, you say, "You're really letting me go home in charge of this human being?" Because we're all novices at it. But of course, none of it, they let us go home because this is beyond absurd. You know, she should never have been allowed to leave the hospital with children if this is who she's going to be. She's forfeited the right to be a parent. I don't know what the sentence is going to be, but she's certainly, that 17-month-old is going to have a new home, hopefully a healthier and better upbringing, and glad it started early so she can be raised by somebody who cares for her and is not going to abandon her. That's if there is a silver lining.
Yes, yes, Randy, preach. You know, she told police, Michael J. Brown, that she left the infant swaddled and propped up on a mattress before leaving the home. I mean, these facts, I can't. Go ahead, Michael, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, you know, Randy had a great point about whether she was sorry or not. I don't think she was, but I don't know her. But it's irrelevant to the case. It's not about intent. There's no intent here. It's really about her engaging in such reckless conduct that it would likely result in death or serious injury. And you know, those are self-serving statements. These are very difficult cases to defend from the defense standpoint. So it's going to be an interesting case to see how it plays out, for sure.
Oh, I love that point, Michael. Thank you. Let's talk on that. We have some time. So she's out, she's doing drugs, she's drinking, she goes to a club. These are all her admissions to police. I mean, and obviously 37 hours, and that's a lot of time. She was obviously other places besides the club, you know, who knows where, doing what. If you are her attorney, clearly alcohol problem, a drug problem here going on. Tell me what you do to kind of do the damage control, Michael J. Brown. What do you do with this woman?
Very difficult, very difficult. You obviously want to exploit, from the defense standpoint, her dependencies if she had them. Your best possibility, and I don't think it's likely, is to get to a manslaughter, so you take away the life on the end portion. It's difficult. These are difficult cases. You do your best. You never want to put this in front of a jury unless you want to try to get that manslaughter. But it's a very hard case to sell to a jury when it comes to that, because they're told to disregard emotions. Not happening.
You're right, Michael. Baby death cases are the toughest to see, to handle. Oh my gosh, it's hard to be a spectator in the courtroom when you have a baby death case. We have just about a minute left, and Randy Kessler, I want to go to you, please, because the other component, as you know, your wheelhouse, family law. I mean, my gosh, the 17-month-old, thank God this child is alive. Your thoughts on what's next? Will this child be separated from his or her mother? I'm not sure if it's a little boy or a girl. The details 100%. Are being left.
100%. The Department of Family and Children's Services are going to take care of this child. They're going to find, if they can, a stable relative would be first choice. If not, a foster care or foster environment for that child. And, you know, as far as what Michael's saying, he's right. This is not going to a jury. They're going to plead their case to the prosecutor, and they're going to say, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Prosecutor, you have a chance to change this person's life. She will get help. She will get into rehab. Don't put her away for the rest of her life. She'll take any sentence. She'll jump through any hoops, and you got to give it your best shot there. But this 17-month-old, thank goodness it's early. Hopefully this child has a chance at a good life, a better life, than she otherwise or he otherwise would have had.
That's right, Randy. You're right. It is early, and maybe the child won't have any memories of this. Let's hope. 17 months. Maybe the child can have a good, positive start and be in great care. We have to leave it there for now, but we'll continue watching this case against Sarah Harris. Sunny Slaughter, I will see you in our 9 a.m. Court TV live hour. I have to say goodbye and a big thank you to Michael J. Brown and Randy Kessler for their time and expertise this morning. Have a great weekend, gentlemen. We'll see you soon. And when we come back here on Opening Statements, we're going to provide you with some stalking safety tips. January, maybe you know, it's National Stalking Awareness Month. And Jennifer Dulos, as we're looking at her death case today at trial, we know that she was stalked by her estranged husband, Fotis Dulos. That's how police say he managed to kill her, by getting inside of her house when she was unaware. We're bringing in an expert to give us some tips. And some brand new video shows another volatile argument between Courtney Clenny and her boyfriend, Christian Abumseli. So how might this fight tip the scales of justice at Clenny's murder trial? Her attorney, Sabrina Puglisi, is joining us live in Tipping the Scales.
She was a sweet girl, loving mother.
Erica Stefanko stands accused of luring a pizza delivery driver into a trap that ended her life.
We believe it was her that made the phone call to order the pizza.
During the delivery, Ashley was ambushed by her former boyfriend.
She was found guilty, but that conviction has been overturned.
Now, will a new trial end with a different verdict?
The pizza delivery murder retrial. Live coverage begins Tuesday morning, only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. This morning, we're shining a spotlight on the stalking and the death of mother of 5, Jennifer Dulos. She vanished nearly 5 years ago, and her husband, Fotis Dulos, was charged with her murder prior to his death by suicide. Now his girlfriend, Michelle Traconis, is on trial, accused of helping Fotis cover up Jennifer's murder. And now we're getting some more insight into the day that authorities believe Jennifer was killed, showing us how Fotis stalked her until it was the perfect time to attack. Take a look at around 5:20, the morning of May 24th, 2019. Fotis drove to Jennifer's home in his employee's red Toyota Tacoma. He sat parked near her home for nearly 2 hours, and then at 7:30, he rode his bike to Jennifer's home. Between 7:57 and 7:58, Jennifer sent her last known text to her babysitter and dropped her children off at school. And then at 8:05, Jennifer is last seen on a neighbor's security video going back to her house. Somewhere between 8:05 and 10:25, Jennifer Dulos is murdered. And Fotis Dulos drives away in her car, her SUV, presumably with her body in the back. Police believe he got into her house and was lying in wait, knowing her schedule, knowing her routine. Stalking is dangerous stuff. And you may know that January is National Stalking Awareness Month. We want to prevent this. And if someone is in a relationship with a partner who may be abusive, who may be someone who has carried out acts of violence against them, the lethality of the relationship is something that we want to make sure we're paying attention to. So we're bringing in an expert this morning on the show to really shine a light on what you can do if you're in a relationship that seems dangerous, or if you know you are being stalked by an intimate partner. I want to bring in the executive director at Crisis Center North, which is a domestic violence resource center based in Western Pennsylvania. Grace Coleman is with us. Alongside her, one of the canine court advocates who serves stalking victims and domestic violence victims at Crisis Center North, Ari. Ari is actually owned by Grace. She's the most generous person I know, has dedicated her life to the domestic violence prevention movement, and she has lended her dog Ari to this great program, Pause for Empowerment. Grace, good morning. When you hear these terrible facts with Jennifer Dulos and how she was stalked, tell me what it makes you think, please.
I mean, I think it's more common than what people think. That's one of the things I'd like to raise, that stalking is a huge lethality risk for victims of domestic violence, and it happens more frequently than people might believe.
Right. You know, and Another thing, and I only know this because of what you have taught me, Grace. I am on the board at Crisis Center North. I've shared that before. You and Ari are very popular with our viewing audience, and the pause board is, you know, what I work with at the center. And pets are at risk of stalking, are they not?
They absolutely are. I think it's one of the signs that people often don't detect as we place more emphasis on pets, but often a perpetrator of domestic violence will threaten family, friends, and it's not uncommon that they threaten pets. In fact, we had a case most recently where some pets were kidnapped from a pet sitter while walking the pets for a victim. So that's not uncommon to see in cases.
Mm-hmm. No, and here with Jennifer Dulos, this is just so scary. I mean, they're in the middle of a divorce, right? You know, there's distance between them. There was time between them, but we know divorces can be nasty, heated. In this case, there was a lot of money that was owed. There was a custody battle over the 5 kids. Things were tense, and she was afraid of him. That's what police have said. She was terrified of him. Knowing her schedule, it seems to me, Grace, I'm not the expert, you are. It seems to me that that was what was so key, that he knew that window of opportunity, used someone else's car so that she wouldn't see that it was his, knew when she'd be leaving the house to drop the kids off at the school. What do you advise people, you know, when they come to the center for help and the person they're involved with knows like everything about them and what they do?
Yeah, it's really important. In fact, as domestic violence advocates, our team often tells people one of the first safety tips that you can utilize is to change your routine. Change your routine, stay with a friend, make things. If you always go to breakfast on Sunday morning, don't go to breakfast on Sunday morning. Start going to breakfast or going to dinner on Friday night, because we all have a pattern of behavior into our weeks, right? And that becomes easy then for a perpetrator to know where you are. And obviously they show up frequently. They stalk in order to cause fear in a victim. And it's important to note that stalking is a repeated pattern of behavior. It's not generally defined as a single incident.
That's a great point, Grace. Yeah, you wonder what Fotis Dulos was doing in, you know, the days before, the weeks before. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, of course, but police, thank goodness, have been able to narrow down what he was doing that day in order to put him as Jennifer Dulos's killer. And then we know that now that Fotis is dead, it's Michelle Troconis who's left holding the bag, accused in the cover-up. So we'll see what happens at the trial as that rolls on. Today we'll go there live at 9. But Grace, while we have you here, I think it's really important that we're devoting this segment to prevention, to education. We've asked you in coming on the show today to come up with your 3 best tips for anybody who's watching this, who's a little bit afraid of their intimate partner, who thinks they might be being stalked, or somebody who knows in fact that there is stalking going on. What do they do?
There are so many things that they can do, and I can give you a ton of tips, but the 3 that I thought were most important were for victims to develop a safety plan, right? That's something they can do with their local domestic violence center, and advocates are extremely thorough in helping victims walk through a safety plan. Informing family, friends, and neighbors of the situation is an added extra measure of security. So having a picture, showing people a picture of the individual that's stalking you, so you have other people looking out over you, is a really important situation to take, or a really important step rather, to take for your general safety as well. And documenting and keeping a log of all the incidences can help you if you go to court, right? Don't travel alone at all. Take your cell phone with you at all times. And I really encourage individuals who are stalked to contact their local domestic violence center. Most victims who are stalked don't, until the situation becomes extremely serious. And we know that being a victim of stalking is an increased lethality risk. So it's really important that those individuals reach out for help. And I can't thank you enough,
Oh, and we just lost Grace at the end there, but we were about to wrap up the segment, and I think I know what Grace was going to say. You know, reach out. Her center that she runs is in Western Pennsylvania. There are centers like Crisis Center North all across the country where you can reach out, and they will help you develop that safety plan to make sure there are lots of people around you who know what your stalker looks like and to help you to stay safe. Our thanks to Grace Coleman and Canine Court Advocate Ari for all they do for stalking victims and domestic violence victims. We're going to hit a break, folks. When we come back, here's what's next.
Actually, done. Okay, fine. Done. Because you're costing me money. I didn't do because I got to this house because of you. You let my mom say some mind that. No, because of you. Flirting with like 3 girls the whole time. 3 girls.
Courtney Clenny's attorney, Sabrina Puglisi, is joining us live on the show next to weigh in on this newly released video showing yet another explosive argument between Courtney Clenny and her boyfriend, Christian Albumselli. Now to what is tipping the scales. Potentially damaging video of Courtney Clenny recently released as it shows the OnlyFans model fighting with her boyfriend, Christian Albumselli, before his murder.
Anyway, I was sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you. But you're hindering my progress.
You need to sit down.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
Come on.
Let go of me.
Okay.
Come on, boy. Let go of me. I can't even, I'll start to hit later. Get the off me.
You don't want to hit me?
Christian, he saw me, and I know he's looking. I'm fed up with you. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with that you treat me.
Courtney,
Yes, I'm not mad at you.
You let Moana say some line that affected you.
I didn't let her say anything.
I didn't say
you did.
Hey, let's go to Moana right now. Let's pull up to her.
No, I'm just gonna see her.
No, she's in the group chat. Let's put her on the phone right now.
I dare you.
Yeah, you dare me? Keep saying
you
it.
Do it.
Then stop saying it then.
Do it.
Then stop saying it then. Then stop saying it then.
Let's what?
Come on.
Let me get my
Ask her. Ask her, did I touch her breast yesterday?
Instigative years.
No, you're telling me I touched her breast yesterday when I.
You did. I didn't say you touched it.
You said I did.
You were leaning. Yo, you were dumb as. I actually don't agree with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Done. Because you're costing me money. I didn't do because I got to this house because of you.
Now, this new footage was taken in 2022 and shows the couple fighting while on a trip to Aspen after Courtney Clenny allegedly accused Christian Albumselli of cheating. The video was then shared with Court TV by the attorney of the Albumselli family, who has a wrongful death lawsuit currently pending against Clenny. I know this is something totally different than the criminal allegations. And I want to be clear, we had a little bit of a scripting error earlier. We don't know that this was a murder. This is a death case. Whether it was a murder or whether it was a killing that was a justifiable homicide in self-defense is what's going to be determined by the jury at Courtney Clenny's trial. So she's charged with second-degree murder. That is the position of the state of Florida, but her attorneys are fiercely defending her, saying that she was defending herself from Christian Albumselli rather at the time that she threw the knife at him that ultimately led to his death. I want to welcome in now one of the attorneys who is representing Courtney Clenny, Sabrina Puglisi, on the show with us live today to talk about this new video. Sabrina, good morning to you. It's always nice to have you on the show. Thank you for your time today.
Good morning, Julie.
If we could we start with that video? Because that's what, as you know, has everybody talking, and certainly you've looked at it, examined it. From your perspective, how will you and your colleague, Frank Prieto, you as a team, how will you use this, embrace it, or try to exclude it when it comes time for trial?
Yeah, and Julie, I just want to say thank you for the clarification you made earlier regarding, murder versus justifiable homicide. But this is another piece, right, of the evidence. It's a snapshot, and it's a snapshot of a toxic relationship, which we've always admitted to and we've seen. I mean, and let me be clear, in no way should people put hands on another person. You know, it's not appropriate whether it comes from a male or a female. But having said that, there's also evidence in the case that shows that Abumseli put his hands on Courtney, and not in the slapping and shoving kind that we see here in this video, in a much more aggressive, dangerous manner. And that will come out in the trial.
Oh, wow. And so, Sabrina, are you alluding to a piece of evidence that maybe we haven't seen yet?
It's evidence that exists in the discovery, and it's not been shown. You know, we come on here to answer questions that the media has. And, you know, I'll point out that the elevator video, which was released by the state attorney's office. This video right here was released by Abumseli's family. You know, so we come on here to feel like we have to defend the actions, but really the courtroom, and that's what I'd like the viewers to understand, is the courtroom is the real place where this trial will occur and all the evidence will come. You know, we don't know anything about what leads up to this video. We know that she's drinking profusely. She said she'd been sober for 2 weeks. We know she says he treats her terribly, that she doesn't want to be in that relationship anymore, but it's a snapshot.
Right. No, it is, Sabrina. You're absolutely right about that. I wondered watching it if there was even any narcotics use, you know, and I'm just saying this as, you know, as a lay person, you know, who doesn't, you know, have any expertise in that area, but she looks to be really excited in that video. She seems amped up, and I wondered if there was anything else going on. And as to your point, it's hard to know what happened in the day before, the morning before, whatever this was taken. Anything else to explain, you know, what you've acknowledged? You've acknowledged the hands on another human, not right. You know, that is not right. You're not in any way justifying it. Is there anything else that was going on with Courtney Clenny at the time? Any kind of substance abuse or anything that might have been contributing to her just being so excited? I mean, it's very easy to see that she's being, what do I want to say here? It's almost like she's angry and something, you know, and you wonder, like, what precipitated this? Was there something that provoked this? Did this just come out of nowhere? How did this build? What tension, what situation created this?
Right. And, you know, I just have to say as an aside, I find it so strange, this person who's taking the video, I don't know who it is, but is just sitting there, like watching this whole thing go on and just videotaping it, like so casually, not even trying to intervene or stop anything. But putting that aside, we absolutely know that she had an alcohol problem. She had a drug problem. It's one of the reasons that she went to try to seek help and was in inpatient treatment when the arrest warrant came in, and the police went and arrested her when she was in treatment.
Wow. Okay, Sabrina, so that's something you're definitely going to embrace. How about who's shooting this video? You see someone's knee, looks like maybe a man's knee. Do you and Frank have any idea?
I have no idea, Julie. This was the first time when Court TV sent it to us yesterday. It's the first time I'd seen this video, so I don't know where it came from.
Oh, wow. You know, and that's interesting, Sabrina, because you've gotten discovery from the state attorney's office, but this is coming from the Abumseli family. So you wonder if maybe the state attorney's office received it at the same time you did, too. Who knows? Tell us, please, Sabrina, we just have about a minute or so left. Today, you have a status hearing for the case. Tell us what's coming up next, when you think we might have a date set for trial for this one.
Yeah, so today we have a hearing. It's going to be a status, so we will get another future date. But also, the state attorney's office had filed a motion stating that they don't feel that the defense has provided all the discovery. We refute that, and so the judge is going to hear that. But also will be something interesting to come in the future is that the state attorney filed a order to show cause against Mr. Prieto for speaking to the media, and has asked that the judge rule on that. Mr. Prieto filed a response to that motion. The court does not have time to hear that today, so a future date will be set with respect to that as well, because we absolutely believe that we have the right to speak to the media, to explain, and we're really just trying to make sure that the public understands what was going on, what the truth of this is. We don't want there to just be one side heard. So that'll be an interesting one.
Sure, definitely. Sabrina, I've said it before, I'll say it again as we wrap up the segment. You and Frank are really going to be what is going to be a real treat to watch in this trial. Your advocacy work, you two have done such a tremendous job for her. I can't wait to see you both in action.